Okay guys, let's try it again on the handy dandy room checkout and change procedure. This is going to be your binder with the fold out portion here that shows exactly what you're to do. Please take the time with each student who comes to the desk to take your finger and slide it from green all the way to red. Please do not close up these couple of pages or close up the binder until you have made it to one of the red spots. It may seem like it is unfriendly or rude to the person that's waiting there, but it's important that we get all of this into our heads exactly what to do in each situation. After a couple of weeks, you're not even going to need this binder except to check the really weird situations, but make sure you take the time now. Okay, for example, we have a student coming to the desk who is checking into our area, and that's all they say. They say, I need to check in to my new area. And you start asking some questions. First of all, you find out, did they receive an email that's telling them that they are moving rooms? And if so, then you should be able to find them on ITRC. So they're not leaving because they are doing a 0 hours or contract release. They are moving to a different room. So we have to choose up here what we're starting with. Either student is returning the temp key or they're leaving campus. Is student leaving campus? They don't have a temp key in their hand, so we're going to start here. Is student leaving campus? The answer to that one would be no, so we're going to follow it over here to the right-hand side of the page. Has the room change been approved in ITRC? You must take a look with this. If it has not been approved, if the student's just trying to tell you that they want to switch rooms, but they're not really approved to do so, if it is during business hours, you can call over to Corp and try to get approval. If not, you're going to tell the student to come back during business hours or go ahead and check in with residents. However, if you do see in ITRC that the room change has been approved, you're going to go ahead and start following things over. We're going to go ahead and add student to the NFCC room change binder. The situation, you're going to be adding the student name, the ID number, where they're coming from, where they're going to, and put the date in there. At this point, the chart tells us to do nothing else, so we're going to hold off. We're going to follow the arrow down. Do they have the room checkout form with them? Let's say at this point they don't. They're standing there just coming up to the desk with a question. They don't have anything with them. Come down here to no, and then we have to determine whether they're coming to, from, or whether they're moving within our area. So at this point, let's assume that the student is moving from our area somewhere else. If that's the case, the major thing, and the only thing that we need for them is actually the RCF, the room change form that is completed. So the red box in the middle there, send the student back to their original RA to get an RCF and to get it signed, unless they say they already did. So there is the possibility that someone will come back to you and say, yeah, I already did that. So if they're telling you, yeah, they already did that, then we need to call their RHD or their RA and figure out who has it. Sometimes the room change forms are ending up in weird places, or they're kind of being dropped at a different desk than they're actually appropriate for, so make some calls. If it gets really tedious, then just tell them they got to start over. So that's probably what you may have to do with that situation. Okay, so if the student is moving to our area, again, you've got a student standing here at the desk with nothing in their hands saying that they want to check in. So if that's or they want to move into our area. If that's the case, follow it down. Has the student actually moved into their room? Nope, at this point they have not. So you're going to just go ahead and issue them a temp key. Lauren already did one last night with very little training, and she did it exactly correctly. It's not rocket science, but she did nail it. So student ID, name, where they're moving from, where they're moving to, then the fact that on that certain date she issued a temp key, and what the student is doing is going ahead and moving into their new room. Please be aware that this is not done in place of the temp key log. You are still going to do the temp key log when this happens. So if it's an Engelman CCE or CCF student, you're going to send them to try for the temp key. The fact that I wrote that will make sense later. It could be that little phrase is coming from a different area over here. And the reason we're doing that, I'll go ahead and explain it now, is because Engelman CCE and CCF are all digital keys. And if we do have one of our students at the desk who's trying to check into one of those, or they are moving from ours to one of those halls, then we want to go ahead and check them in because we can. They're not going to need a specific perm key from any place. They're just going to be able to use their flash card. And it's going to increase the likelihood of us getting them checked in because we're not relying on them going to another desk to actually make it happen. So we heard that yesterday in CC meeting. That's how we're going to want to handle it. So back over to here. We have issued the temp key. We have written that we have issued the temp key. We are instructing the student, all the typical stuff that we tell them. Go ahead and swipe the flash card in the new lock, begin syncing. And then here's the instructions you're going to give them. Some of this is already totally natural for you guys. So this is just going to remind them what they need to do next, which is to get the temp key back to us and bring us the signed room checkout form. Really important. Okay, so that's just a basic walkthrough of what could have happened. So the other kind of side of things is that if they're coming back with a temp key, so obviously they're pretty far along in the process if they're returning a temp key to us. So you're going to just kind of follow it through as usual. Check the digital data card to see if they're checked out of their old room. So this is just kind of a checks and balances to make sure that somehow the student didn't slip through the cracks and that they actually are checked out. There's a chance they're bringing back the temp key because they're standing there holding their RCF, so that's what we're going to see about. So if they're checked out of their old room, we're going to slide them down here. No, has the student turned in the completed RCF? So they could be holding it right then. So have they turned it in? You're going to say no, but then do they have it with them right then? If yes, let's say they do. Is it signed by the RA RHD? Yes, it is. Then we're going to go ahead and sign our portion at the bottom. Then we're going to check the student out in digital data card, which should be totally fine. The only issue that might arise with this is if you don't see the checkout option available, then it could be because they did not actually accept their RCR for their original room at the end of August. If that's the case, then we've got to talk to the student, tell them to get on their email on their phone, and pull up that original email that told them how to accept their RCR. Then they can do that. Then you should be able to see the checkout option. Follow it down. You're going to put the signed RCF in my folder, which will be towards the front of all the colored folders, and you're going to come over here and you're going to write checked out in the ITRC binder. So we would technically, conceivably come over here and write checked out underneath here with our initials and the date. If they had turned in their RCF, okay, they're bringing back the temp key, but they've already turned it in. Where is the RCF? There's a chance that they're just bringing it back to us, or that they've already brought it back, but now they're just turning in the temp key. Make sure that they are checked out, and then follow it down to here and come over and up, and then have they moved into the new room? Let's say in this situation they were bringing back the temp key to us. They have turned in the RCF. You have made sure that the student is checked out, that they've turned it in, or that they're all checked out digital data card, and now we're moving on to have they moved into the room? Yes, because they're bringing the temp key back to you. Does it show them checked out? And again, sometimes you're going to come up with double steps here because we already checked this. So the answer to this is yes, so we're going to follow it over. Check them in on the tablet, and then get the temp key from student. We've already done that. Right, checked in and complete in the ITRC binder, and there we are, we're done with that one. So there's some basics, guys. That's what we're looking at as you move through this process. Of course, what I need you to let me know if there's any problems with this. Go ahead and take Post-it notes, or even pull this out and mark in pencil if there's something that's wrong as you're going through this process. Like I could have even phrased this one just a little bit differently. Yes, they've turned in the completed RCF. So we could this one could have just said, make sure they're checked out in digital data card, and then come on over here. So just help me know about those things that we need to change. Okay, guys? Thanks so much.